for our one to watch segment, which is a new segment that we do here, guys.
Happening now.
Which I can jump in on. My one to watch, and this is not for breakers because breakers will already know who this person is, and maybe half of the rest of the world will already know who he is. But if you don't know, my one to watch is Grimson, formerly known as Supreme, formerly known as Rico.
Not formerly known, that's his government. That's his actual name.
Well, he was known by that before he invented
So
Supreme.
sorry. I stand down.
Technically.
It's like
when he was a
formerly
baby.
known as Chanel. And it's like, well, no, wait.
You were technically formerly known as Chanel.
Yeah, that is. Okay. Good.
Aha, got out of it on a technicality. Who am I to say? So, Rico Supreme, Grimson. For me, he's my one to watch because I think he is not just a good breaker by breakers standards, if that makes sense. Like for top stylers as well. I said this to someone else, but like I think for people that do hip hop, pop in, whatever, like you'll recognize a lot of what we appreciate about dance in Griimsen. Like I think he's technically, from my knowledge, technically a really strong breaker as a breaker, and I haven't really heard anyone say like, oh, that's not breaking, or any of this kind of, whenever you bend the rules of a style a little bit, you always get those people that are like, no, that's not breaking, that's not popping, whatever. But I think he's a strong breaker, but also the way he dances, like stylistically and musically, is like almost reminiscent of like how a hip hop dancer would take the music. Like he's very good at, I think one thing with breakers is a lot of times they definitely are, well, a lot of them are on beat and like use the rhythms. Some of them hit accents, but a lot of time it's like this mix between, okay, let's go on the rhythm, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, dab, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ba. And then if there's like a tat 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 that they know, they might just hit the end of it or something, to show that they've got the accents. But I think one thing that, let's say like hip hop dancers do is they'll play with the accents on a more consistent basis. So you've got your bounce and then you've got like bits that come in and they'll keep playing with those accents as they go through. It won't just be the end of a phrase, if you know what I mean. It will be more built into even to the bounce, it will be built in. And I think Griimsen does that a lot. Like he really like pays attention to all the accents in the music throughout his round, not just on those freeze moments or whatever, even with his top rock or little moments. I think the other thing he does is his dance. I say the other thing, there's a few more things. His dance is like, when I say his dance, I mean as opposed to like his breaking move, like his stylistic dance is built in all the way through from his tops to his freezes, like through his footwork, through his power into his freezes. It's like it looks like him doing that move every time. And you could say that about a lot of the ruggeds, but I think some breakers, it's like they'll have style in, let's say the top rock, they'll also have style like so they'll do footwork, it'll be super clean, and then they'll stop to do a little something, and that's their stylistic moment, and then they go back into like executing, which is cool, but then those are the moments when you don't see their style shine. And I think Griimsen, like his style like continues all the way throughout, whether he's doing a flipping 6-step or he's doing top rock or any basic or difficult element of the dance, it looks like him doing it.
Yes.
And I think for a lot of dancers it's not easy to even find your own style, and especially in breaking, like to keep it through all the difficult moments and all the complexities. I think he does a really good job of that. And one thing that I think is really important to me, and I think because we haven't quite figured out how to say this in a structured teacher sense, we don't say it, but it's like he makes the dancer look cool. And I do think that that's an important part of freestyle. It's like, it shouldn't look awkward on your body. Like it's like how you can be fashionable and you can be wearing like Prada and this and that, but it looks horrible on your body versus people that know how to dress. And it's like, that might be like Primark top with like Prada trousers or whatever, but they know how their body shape is. They know what hangs where, you know what I mean? And I think dance is like that, where it's like, it's not only about doing the good moves or the right moves. It's like, are they the right moves for your body type, for the way you approach the music, the way you dress even? Like there's certain things that will look better on someone that wears baggier clothes versus tighter clothes. Like some of Lorenzo's footwork looks crazy because he wears big baggy, you know what I mean? Whereas someone that wears skinny jeans wouldn't look the same. And I think that is something that we need to take into account as dancers. And I think that's what Grimson does really well. Like everything suits him and it looks like he's just naturally playing, if you know what I mean? As opposed to being like
weaved through his entire dance.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I think like I watch a lot of breaking and a lot of breaking battles, but like I wouldn't say there's a lot of breakers that I'm like a fan of in the same way that I am like hip hop dancers or poppers, like where I'll go watch just like a battle just to see empty pops rounds and like skip through everyone else's and be like, right, next round. And it's like Grimson's one of that. Like I've sat and watched like compilations of his things and it's like there's not many people that I would like dancers that I would do that of.
Nice. That's such a compliment.
Yeah.
Here's a love letter to you, Grimson.
Yeah, that's so nice.
I told him this when I was drunk.
What a lovely guy.
He's a very lovely guy.
Great guy.
He put up with Jenny's drunkenness.
We spoke for more than 2 counts this time, so that was nice.
Yeah.
It's normally quite limited. I taught, related sidebar, like I taught an III session at DFAM, at Definitives, a couple of weeks ago, and was doing an exercise with them, and the playlist was especially all over the shop, and some of them would like drop into, in kind of, not mocking the music, but in kind of comedic slash, no offense, don't really know what to do with this energy, but the luxury of having styles to pull from would kind of break out of exploring and doing their own thing into like a bit of popping or like locking stuff. And my observation was that they dropped out of the dance when they did that, because they'd just be not floating but like playing around with space and what they were doing with their bodies, and then there'd be a drop that was especially funky and they'd be like, oh, I don't know what to do here, and dropping, and it felt really sterile in comparison to what they'd been doing before. And that was my feedback to them, like, please, like, don't obviously not use your styles because you have them, but you have, the consistency needs to be like the presence of you throughout it all. And I think that's what all of the ruggeds, and Bez saying that I engaged with breaking before I started dancing really in the early noughties.
This was another drunken joke that I missed. I turned around and it had been created, and I never got an explanation for it.
Genuinely in the early noughties. The naughty noughties. But my base knowledge of breaking, or the crew that I'm most aware of, it is the Ruggeds. I'm sure there are many just as good, maybe even better than the Ruggeds, but they are world champions now, no?
Yep.
But they all weave themselves as individuals through their dance, like you say, and through all components of their dance. And arguably, and I can't imagine it's by design, but they all seem to pull from different styles for their dance. Like, you know, Sky Chief with his house bag, won't go on with the lists, but him as an example.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that Grimson last year with Rick, who Lorenzo was talking about.
They did be on dub.
As a duo.
Yep.
They were fantastic. So yeah, great one to watch. Great choice, Lucas.
Definitely worth going to check them out.
Go watch Grimson's compilation.
Yeah.